Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part of our, it's a new member or new to BNI Connect series of webinars that cover all of the basics of BNI Connect, and we break it down into little 30-minute segments to make them bite-sized portions, digestible information about BNI Connect. Just last week, we talked about how to complete your profile, and then we talked about how to track and enter all your referrals and one-to-ones and things like that online through BNI Connect. Today, we're going to be talking about kind of the social media side of BNI Connect, the LinkedIn components of BNI Connect, and it's called Connecting with Other Members. Now tomorrow, we're going to continue the series with member tools and reports, where we take a little bit of a deep dive into the system. And then finally on Thursday, we're going to talk about inviting and registering visitors. Before we get started with the content today, just a very couple of quick housekeeping things. First of all, if you're with me today, that means that you are listening to this webinar live. So that means that if you have any questions at all as we are going through the materials today, please do feel free to ask those questions as we are going along. I'll see those questions pop up on my screen, and I'll be able to answer them while we're going through the material. Otherwise, at the end, I always like to leave plenty of time for questions and answers. As I said, we're scheduled for about 30 minutes it takes to go through the material, and then, as I said, I will always stay on board until every single question has been answered. We also record all of our webinars. We make them available in a couple of places. The first place we make them available is on our support site. So if you click this question mark here in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect, that will take you to the support site, and you can see a section called Live and Recorded Webinars, and you'll find all the content there, as well as the schedule of upcoming webinars. The second place you will find it is on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Now, before we get started with how to actually tap in and find other members around the world in BNI Connect, one thing that you absolutely need to make sure of is that you have first filled out your profile. Now, I am not going to go into depth with this. I just want to take a moment to review a couple of key concepts about your profile and about searching in BNI Connect. So the first thing that you want to do before we do anything else, scroll down to the bottom of the screen, and down here there's a little link at the bottom. It says, right under the word personal, it says profile. I'd like you to click that button, because that will take you to really your BNI Connect profile. As we're connecting with other members in BNI Connect, as people are finding you in BNI Connect, this is the profile that they're going to see in the system. So take a look at it and make sure that all of the information is is right here in front of you. So you want to make sure that it's all filled out and that it is correct. So it'll show you all of your roles here up at the top. It'll show you your industry, your classification, your My Business description, which, by the way, you can put a video into, all your keywords, your company, all your contact information. And then there's all these other tabs as well. So your bio tab, which will have your commercials, your weekly presentations. It'll also have your gains profile and your tops profile. You can also see all of the people that you're connected with, your testimonials. There is a photo sharing library as well. You can share up to 20 photos. They could be anything from silly photos to serious photos to business photos to testimonials that you've scanned in from clients. The discussion groups that you're participating in, and finally your training history. So you absolutely want to make sure that this is all displaying the way you want it to display to other members. If not, click on this link here. It says Update Profile My BNI page, and make sure you go through all of these tabs here along the top of the screen. The Profile tab, make sure you have a picture uploaded and a company logo. Again, all of your contact details. Here's a very important one. Right here on the tab that looks like a gear. The very top of this page has to do with how you're displaying your information to other people when they find you in BNI Connect. Again, this is the member-to-member profile, what we just looked at. you get to pick and choose which of those tabs, which pieces of information you wish to share with other people. So for example, your bio tab, that whole tab, you can choose whether to share that with everybody. So that means that as soon as somebody finds you in BNI Connect, they can immediately see that bio tab. Otherwise, if you have this set to My Connections, that means that they have to send you a connection request. You have to accept that connection request before they'll be able to see your bio tab. And then the last tab here is None. That means that nobody ever can see that information. The important one in this list, by the way, is make sure that your contact details here are shared with everyone. Now, again, this is really, it's up to you, but my opinion is that when people are searching in BNI Connect, they're usually searching because really they're looking for somebody to fill a need. As a matter of fact, here in the support, I just got an email a few minutes ago from somebody in Florida, in the southwestern part of Florida, that was looking for a tax attorney in the Tampa area of Florida. So it's a whole different region. So I instructed that person how to go into BNI Connect and search for those people. So if they find somebody in Tampa, more than likely, they're just going to want to give them a call right away. They don't have time to necessarily wait to send a connection request, wait until they reply to that, and then finally see their information. So I do recommend showing your contact details to everybody. Right, make sure to take time to fill out your bio. This is credibility information. And just make sure your training history is correct. But back on the home page, so the first thing is make sure you're sharing your contact details. The second thing, back on this first page, there's the keywords. Now the keywords are the second most important thing on your profile. And the reason for this is that most of the time, when people are looking for you, they don't know your name. And that means they're going to be searching by categories and keywords. So, for example, if you happen to be let's say BNI Connect is going to search by, of course, your industry up here and your classification and your name and the town that you do business in and things like that. However, it is a database search, so it is a word-by-word search. So if you're in the industry of accounting and you are in bookkeeping, but somebody does a search for bookkeeper, it may not find you. So I highly recommend that you put additional words into your keywords. So make sure that the word bookkeeping or bookkeeper is in there. You may also want to put other places that you do business. So it's going to search for your business address and your mailing address, whatever town those happen to be in or city. But you may want to supplement that with additional towns or cities or states. You'll notice in my keywords here, I put Massachusetts and Connecticut. And the reason that I do that is because Rhode Island, where I'm a member, where I live here, Rhode Island's a really, really, really small state. We're only 40 miles long by 20 miles wide, a grand total of 800 square miles. It takes less than an hour to drive across the entire state of Rhode Island. So most people in Rhode Island tend to do business a little bit over the borders into Massachusetts and Connecticut. So I want to make sure if people are looking for server support in Massachusetts that they find my information. Okay, if you make any changes there, click Update. Just kindly know that if you do make changes to your keywords, that may take up to about a half hour to refresh in the system. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, what we need to do to find some of these, the kind of the social media aspect of BNI Connect is we do need to go beyond this home screen here. And you'll notice over on the left-hand side, there's this ribbon thing. It says My BNI Business. My BNI Business. If we click on the next thing down, it says My Network, and you'll see that the screen changes here. And this brings us into really the networking components here in BNI Connect. And these are the different quote-unquote social media things in BNI Connect. We have connections. Now, connections are the it'll start off as being just your chapter because you're connected with all the people in your chapter by default. But as you meet people in BNI, you can add them to kind of your own personal BNI address book where you have kind of quicker access to each one of their profiles and their contact information. The next thing we have is groups. And groups are our way to communicate with people throughout BNI. So we can have discussions with people, and there's about 500 groups right now in BNI Connect having discussions about all sorts of things. There are some very industry-specific discussions. There are position-specific discussions. I know that there's a group out there just for growth coordinators that talk about different things that growth coordinators can do. There's the one here from the founder, which Ivan Meisner himself, Dr. Meisner, posts in the From the Founder group and allows about 4,000 people to have a group discussion about topics in BNI. The next thing here is documents. Every region has a document library. Now this is specific to your particular region in BNI. So these are things, for example, that my director team and my executive director are sharing with other people in my area. Your documents here will be a little bit different because they're being shared by your executive director. Down in the bottom left here, we have testimonials, and this allows us to say nice things about other people in BNI. That's a great way to build somebody's credibility, is to give them a testimonial, and we can pass written testimonials to anybody you're connected with in BNI Connect. This event section gives a list of events that are nearby or that you have access to. And there is an internal messaging system here that allows you to communicate with other people that you're connected with. Let's take a look first at connections. If I click on Manage here, or if I go to Network Connections up at the top, right up here, Network Connections, that'll take me into My Connections. And as I said, this is kind of your personal, really your personal address book, if you will, for people that you've met in BNI. It's not meant to be an all-encompassing, every single person in BNI is in your address book. It's really meant to be, people that you now have a one step closer connection with. So you can click on any of the people in here, for example, and their profile will appear, a modified version of their profile, smaller version of their profile will appear here. This is David, for example, from Mexico. I met him when I was at a conference down there about a year ago. And here's all of David's contact information and his email and his website, so I could get in touch with David if I needed to or wanted to. I could also send him an internal message here. I could ask him for a testimonial or give him a testimonial. I could go view his full profile, or I can delete him from my connections. Now, keep in mind that you can only delete people that you are manually connected to. You will, by default, be connected with everybody in your own chapter. So that happens automatically as people join your chapter. You'll be automatically connected with them. And as they leave your chapter, you will be automatically disconnected from them. So in cases where the person, for example, I have Brad Asher here. He is in my chapter. You'll see that Brad, I don't have an option to remove Brad from my connections. If he ever leaves my BNI chapter, he'll be disconnected automatically. Now, how do you add connections? How do you find people in BNI Connect and connect with them? The way to do that, you can click this button here at the top. It says Add Connection, or you can go to this magnifying glass at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Regardless which one of those you click, it'll take you to the same place. That place is the BNI Global Directory. This has all 205,000 member profiles in it. That's right, 205,000 members around the world. Every single member has a profile here in BNI Connect, and then also several thousand other people as well. So we have all the people from that are managing directors and national directors and executive directors and the headquarters team. Everybody does have a profile here in BNI Connect. So this is just really as easy as searching for somebody. So you can search by name, obviously. So if I wanted to search for myself, Jeremy Walsh, I could do a search, and it will come back with our results. The first couple of results here will be the exact results. So they have an exact Jeremy Walsh match. There's actually two of them. There's myself, and then I do have a test profile, if I click on it, up in Antarctica. Actually, it's down in Antarctica. But this is just a test profile I have. You'll notice that I'm not sharing any contact information. So that means if somebody comes across this, if this was a legitimate profile, they couldn't get in touch with me even if they wanted to. So you want to make sure that you are sharing that contact information. But if I did want to connect with myself, I could click this button that says Add Jeremy to my connections. I could write a custom message here. Thanks for being on the webinar today. And I could click Submit. That'll notify the other Jeremy that I'd like to connect with him and send a connection request. If I close this, it'll bring me back to my search. Notice it did pop up in a new screen there. Of course, you can look for plumber in Pittsburgh. And let's see what we get for some results there. It'll give us some exact results first. So it looks like there's about 10 or so plumbers in Pittsburgh. And once again, I could click on any of their profiles. Now, keep in mind, if you just fill out your profile, you will be ahead of the game because there's a lot of people out there still that have not filled out their profiles. And I'll tell you, people are using BNI Connect for this purpose on a daily and weekly basis in order to basically pass referrals to other BNI members around the world. So make sure you fill out that profile so when people find you, they'll be able to pass you that referral. So the other thing you can do is there's this search, which kind of lumps all the categories and names and locations and everything into one compound search. If you want to be a little bit more specific, click on the advanced search. Now you can search specifically by first name or last name, which is especially helpful for people that might have, there's a person in my region, his name is Peter George, which both names could be a first name or a last name. So it brings back a lot of extra results. Let's say you just want to find people in a certain country. You could do that as well. And BNI is in over 65 countries around the world, or within a certain city or state. So you can get a little bit more granular with with this particular type of search here. All right, the other thing is, let me go back to network connections. And by the way, feel free to connect with me. My name is Jeremy Walsh. Just do a search for me and connect. I'd love to connect with you. But once people start connecting with you, you will start receiving the requests. And what you want to make sure you do is every once in a while go through and accept these various connection requests. Now you can see all the people here that are sending the requests, and if you aren't sure who the person is, Laura Leone here, she's actually an executive director in Canada. So if I click on Laura, I can go and it will bring me to her full profile. I can verify it's the right person, check out her other information here. And if I'd like to go ahead, go back here, and I can accept that connection request. Some people may also send you a special message. If you want to click that read message, you can see what they sent along with their message. You can choose whether to accept that, ignore it, or reject it. And if you have a whole bunch of them here, the way I do, make sure you go and select all and connect to selected. And that will connect with all of the people that are in the list. Once they've connected, I should see my total connections go to, I believe, 558 if my math is correct. And I'll be able to use this interface to get to their profiles. All right, the other thing about connections. Again, you can leave testimonials. You do need to be connected with somebody before you can leave them a testimonial. But through here, you can ask them for a testimonial, or you can give them a testimonial. Giving them a testimonial is as easy as clicking Give Testimonial and writing out your testimonial. Once you've done that, it will display on that thumbs tab of the thumbs up tab of their profile. If you'd like to review your testimonials, you can flip over to the Testimonials interface here, or go to Network Testimonials. This looks very much like the Connections interface, but once you get here, you can click on any of your testimonials that you've received. You can also choose to hide a testimonial, or you can remove a testimonial as well. You can also review any of the testimonials that you've given to other people. Now keep in mind, you can only give one testimonial to each of your connections. If you make a mistake or you'd like to update it at a later time, you do need to ask them to remove that testimonial so that you can update it and send them a new one. All right, so that's the connections, that's the testimonials. Now let's just take a quick look at the groups. And the groups are really where we can kind of tie this all together. And the groups are a way for us to really start to build those relationships with other people around the world. And we do that by having conversations with them. That's done if we go to the groups here and we click on Manage, or of course we can click on Network Groups. Both are going to take you to the same exact place. Now once we get into groups, we can see here our groups, and if we can scroll through them, there's about 5 groups per page, so there's going to be about 100 or so pages that you can go through, but you can go through them one by one, and you'll see here there are groups on a ton of different topics. And all of these so far, the first couple of pages, they're all active as of today. They have new posts. I mean, this one here has about 1,000 posts in it. Dr. Meisner has about 1,500 posts and 277 topics. 4,000 people are connected in that group. But you can go through page by page if you want to and see if there are any groups that interest you. For example, B&I Lawyers. And if I click on B&I Lawyers, we'll see all of the different discussions here. So lawyers in India, all of the different conversations they're having. So what they're doing here is they're creating a worldwide coalition of lawyers in B&I. And as anybody might know, I know in our chapter, we have about 3 or 4 lawyers in my personal home chapter. They pass so much business back and forth to each other. Why not take that out to a global scale and be able to do that? And B&I Connect helps them to do that through the use of these groups. If you want to participate in one of these groups, meaning you want to get the notifications and be able to converse with the other people in the group, just click on Join Group. Once you do that, you will start getting the notifications about that group as well. Once you're a member of that group, like I'm a member of the From the Founder group, the other way that you can use this is, let's say that you are having or participating in a conversation here, and there's somebody that interests you. Let's say Diane Chambers here. She posted something, and maybe I'd like to get in touch with Diane. I can also click on her name here. I can be brought to Diane's profile, and now I can add her to my connections. The other way that we can find people to connect with is look at their connections, and you can actually click through their connections as well. And you can actually do that infinitely, unlike with LinkedIn, for example, where you're only allowed to go 1 or 2 levels deep. You can actually go pretty much unlimited levels deep here in B&I Connect in order to find other people to connect with. Let me go back to groups there for a second, network groups. The other thing you can do is you can create your own discussion group and invite your connections to participate in that discussion. All you need to do is click on the Add Group button, and you can go through and create your own group. And finally, it may take a while to go through page by page by page, but you can also search the group. So if you wanted to search, for example, for all the groups created by Dr. Meisner, we could do that, and we actually come up with the groups created by Dr. and Mrs. Beth Meisner here, the BNI Foundation BNI Voices group. So you could then join any of those particular groups as well. All right, so that, my friends, is the social media side of BNI Connect, the connections, the groups, the testimonials. What I'd like to do right now is to open this up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions about connecting with other people here in BNI Connect? Now, while you're thinking of any last-minute questions, just a reminder, we are recording this webinar. The webinar will be made available in a couple of different places for review later, or if you'd like to share this with other members or members of your chapter, I highly encourage that. You can get there by clicking this question mark here in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect. That will take you to the support site. Here, click on Live and Recorded Webinars. Our upcoming webinars are here, and our recorded webinars are here. So if you click on, for example, the July recorded series, I will have the August and September ones up shortly. You can review any of the webinars given on that particular month. And a good referral for me is to please let other chapter members in the area know about these webinars. Love having people here live on our webinars and being able to ask questions and learning more about BNI Connect. Our very next webinar is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. We're going to be talking about the member tools and reports. We're going to take a deep dive and learn about, how can we get some information about our chapter and our statistics and, some neat little tools that we can use to make our lives a little bit easier here in BNI. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And then Thursday, I'm going to show you how you can get more of your visitors to show up to the meetings that you invite them to. All right, do we have any questions at all? Going once. Going twice. PF says, thank you so much, and you're very welcome, PF. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you investing some time out of your normal everyday to learn more about BNI Connect and to learn more about BNI in general. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Happy connecting.